First up is the roll call. Council at Large Cummins.
Here.
At Large Poston.
Here.
Council Ward number 1 Hembry.
Here.
Ward number 2 Helm.
Here.
Ward number 3 McNeil.
Here.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, let's see now, with the agenda, there should be a small addition. We've gotten a memo about a squad car. So if we could amend the agenda to under city business and add a number 5, that would be discussion on possible action concerning the purchase of a police vehicle.
Would be discussion only.
Oh, yeah, sorry, just discussion only. I was thinking possible action would be stated.
Yeah, if there's going to be a request as part of this discussion to have the council set up, hopefully a one item special meeting in maybe next week.
So that would be under number 5, discussion only with a possible special meeting. All right, so with that addition, is there a motion to approve the agenda? McNeil with first and Poston with the second.
Poston?
Yes.
McNeil?
Yeah.
Hembry?
Yes.
Cummins?
Yes.
Helm?
Yes.
All right, so it moves us down to communications. This is where anyone can address the council. So if you would like to, if you are in person, please make your way to the podium and state your name for the record. And we currently do not have anyone online. And seeing that nobody is making their way to the podium, we'll close that portion of the meeting and move on to the consent agenda. And these can all be enacted with one motion unless something needs to be pulled out to discuss. And it consists of the approval of the council meeting minutes from November 6th, approval of the library minutes from October 9th, approval of the library director's report from October of 23, approval of the Run Your Ice Off 5K and 1 mile fun run that would be hosted by New Body Fitness and the Fit Hub, and that would be on January 6th of 2024. Approval of the pay application number 8 to replace Highway 38 South Street to Triple B Construction in the amount of $164,441.56. Approval of a one-time water and sewer bill exemption to Jeff Current at 502 Sycamore Street. Approval of a housing rehab program award of a contract to Avantis Construction at 222 West 8th Street in the amount of $32,068. Approval of a revolving loan fund application to Mark Pooley at 424 West 6th Street. Approval of the renewal of the current copier lease with Access Systems for the James Kennedy Family Aquatic Center. Approval of the Chambers Lighted Parade and Community Christmas Tree Lighting, and that happens on November 25th of this month. And the approval of the claims register, which includes claims paid under the current purchase policy. Do any of these need to be pulled out?
Mayor, could we pull out 6 and 9?
Yes, 6 and 9. So the first one is the one-time water and sewer bill exemption. Mr. Hembry, did you have any thoughts on it?
How long will it take the city of Tipton to quit writing off water and sewer? It should be a case of if you use the product, you should pay for the product. If we're able to write off water and sewer, I'd like to be able to write off gas and electric bill. Get another separate utility entity. You know, it's just a good spirit to the people that actually have and take care of and maintain, current accounts and whatnot, and their facilities. The school itself is a big user with a 2-inch floating disc meter down at the concession stand. If it's sat there and run because an RP leaked, will we write their debt off too?
And how does this work with Jeff Current at 502 Sycamore?
He wants the one-time exception. The city needs to get out of those exemptions, especially if, they're not a long-term resident.
All right, just a little history on that. We had looked at that one council prior, And I think we approved one small change to that program at that time. And then to number 9, the copier lease.
If the facility is not open, do you still need the copier sitting up there in an empty facility until management decides how they're going to get it up and running on its ventilation, or is it used as office space?
Empty?
Well, I do know they still use it for the rec programs.
So the aquatic center is open?
I think
You
the
said it
office
was
space
empty.
is.
They're still using their office.
So they're using the aquatic center for office space?
Well, it's always been there as far as I know.
That's Amazon.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
All right, with those 2 discussions, is there a motion to approve the consent?
Are those 2 items still separately allowed to be voted on?
I suppose we can if you want.
With
All right, then with,
I'll make a motion to accept with those 2 polls.
so the Cummins has made a motion to accept or to pass the consent agenda with the removal of number 6 and number 9. Is there a second?
Second.
Helm with the second?
McNeil?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hembry?
yes,
Cummins?
Yes.
Helm?
Yeah.
Posturing?
Yes.
All right, then going back to number 6, is there a motion to approve this one-time water and sewer bill exemption?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Mr. Brennan, did you want to?
I would just be here if anybody had any questions.
Okay.
I did the work order, I worked on the meter.
Was the meter faulty?
I don't feel that it was. The meter was installed in a vertical position rather than a horizontal like the manufacturer recommends, but even at that, I think if that faulted, it would have faulted on the side favoring the customer and not the city. I went ahead and replaced the meter and I used a resetter and it's set horizontally now. I did that for customer satisfaction, if nothing else. This will tell you something. I actually took the meter and put a tag on it and said good meter. You know, I might end up reusing that in a downtown basement or in underneath of a mobile home. So I believe the meter is good, just by indication of that alone. I'm not telling you whether to vote yes or no. But I can tell you historically, I've been told literally thousands of times that water didn't flow through meters, and I've been able to prove that wrong many, many, many times. Far more than I've ever found a faulty meter. So just being honest with you, you know.
And also historically, the council's approved one-time exemptions for, I specifically remember a toilet ran in a downstairs bathroom that he didn't know was broken. And he was actually contacted by our utility staff to say, hey, your water bill is actually way more than it was last time. And the council approved it.
I think the thing is about a case like this, does this person or does this household qualify under the ordinance as the ordinance now is? If that's yes, then you can't hold what the council might want to do in the future with this ordinance against a person who qualifies right now. Instead, Ron's proposal, as I took it, is more change the current ordinance. And if the council or the future council wants to do that and, you know, reasons it out and decides what they want to do, they can do that. But until that ordinance is figured out or changed, I don't think that it can be held against this person if they qualify under the ordinance that's there right now.
All right, so we still have Cummins made the motion to approve this one-time water and sewer bill exemption.
I'll second.
Posture with a second.
McNeil,
Yes.
Hembry,
No.
Cummins,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Posturing,
Yes.
All right, then moving down to number 9. It's the renewal of the current copier lease with access systems for the James Kennedy Family Aquatic Center. Unfortunately, I don't think Adam or Addie are here. But is there any discussion on this beyond what Ron had?
There was no change in the lease itself, correct?
actually a savings.
Brian, there's no change in the lease.
No.
And there was actually a savings?
Yeah, as his write-up mentions, it's a $54.24 reduction
I'll
for the
make a
year.
motion to approve.
Cummins with the first to approve this lease.
I'll second.
Foster with the second.
Hembry,
No.
Cummins,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Posturing,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
All right, so now we'll move down to city business, and the first one is a resolution that, for an application for urban revitalization tax exemption that would be filed by Steufen Manufacturing, and this is a pass-through to the county, correct?
Yes, yeah, it's a two-step process. The city approves and then the county assessor approves. This is the case of a new building on the same lot as another building. So I would guess it would make the 15% benchmark. But I want to ask if the council will consider adding one paragraph. And this is similar to the paragraph that was added when Brand New Engines did their project. If you remember maybe you don't. Brand New Engines had a situation where their project was midstream between one calendar year and the next. The assessor looks at where it stands on January 1st. In order to include the project in its whole on both sides of that January 1st, we added language. Now, as I understand it, there are still some minor things that have to be done with the Steufen's project. But nonetheless, I would suggest that as a new paragraph under where it has number 1, Steufen Manufacturing, if the council could amend it to say, be it further resolved, the city council recognizes that the project in this application started in 2023 and may continue until finished in 2024. Therefore, this approval includes the project's complete construction period. So I would hope the council would approve with that amendment.
Is there a motion to approve this resolution with that amendment? McNeil with the first
Second.
and Helm with the second.
Hembry,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Posturing,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
All right, number 2, discussion of possible action that would concern a purchase of vaporizers for propane peak shaving plant. Standby Systems is the company, and it's at $32,300. And Virgil is here if anybody has any questions for him, or if you want to explain it a little more. The write-up was pretty good, but
Yeah, the 32,000, I think, is for 5 vaporizers. We only need 4. Those are 80 gallons an hour, we only need 300 gallons per hour. So it's actually 25,840.
okay. So even better. If there are no questions for Virgil, is there a motion to approve this purchase? McNeil with first and Posturing, second?
Cummins,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Posturing,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes.
All right, number 3, discussion and possible action concerning a school resource officer. This would be the acceptance of what's called the COPS grant, and then a partnership with Tipton and Bennett school districts. And Chief is here.
Yeah.
Chief?
So we were awarded the 125,000 COPS grant over a 3-year period. Part of the requirement is keep that position at least 4 years. So when the school gets their 28E agreement, they will be required to pay the 75% of the total cost for that 4th year, and the city states that they're 25%. We're hoping then that the school will continue the program. They've already been asking for it even before we got the grant, but didn't have the funds to pay for it. This way, each school will pay $15,000 a year for those first 3 years.
And each school is on board right now?
They both are, but we have to go revisit their school boards. I met with
Yeah.
both of the school boards last year. They're very excited to have it. At the time, they just didn't have more than $15,000 at the time.
So this is like the first step, and then now you'll go to those school boards.
I'm on, supposed to meet with them at their next meeting.
We're still on board as far as a floater, correct, through all the schools? One?
Are you asking the schools for a multi-year commitment then?
Yes.
Okay.
And I didn't copy all this for your packet, but if you want to go through any of it, please come see me. It's a
Can-
lot.
So is it like your action plan on how this is gonna work? Like where the officer is going to be stationed and where they float to and how much time is at each school and what do they do in the off time when school is out? Like is all of that?
The officer will not have, okay, I'll be here every Monday and Tuesday and I'll be here. You do not want a pattern. Part of ours is a risk assessment and you don't want to set a pattern. So maybe the bad guy goes, oh, I know he's in Tipton on Wednesday, so I'm gonna go to Bennett on Wednesday. That won't be a public thing. We do have a tentative plan. Last year, when we were talking about all this, there were goals that were written. The school and the city will have a board, team, whatever you want to call it. The goals will be set up. Specific hours, it will depend on the areas of need. We've been giving service to the schools for 12 years through the DARE program, through safety, through bike rodeo, stranger danger. Those are just a few things. There will be curriculum for each grade level. So every grade will have some sort of contact. There's also going to be, the officer will be that team member that sits in and helps with problem solving, helps with, they're not in there to bust kids and send them to juvenile detention. It's part of a team and to build that rapport. And also the risk assessment. We did that whole thing with the schools and they got the grants to help with their entrances. They will be getting their radios in every school office. I think it's just the 3 secretary buildings, not the district office. So they will have a direct connection with dispatch. There will be some training with that also. So part of it is a risk assessment continually. The other part is building those partnerships, I guess, if you want to call it that, with the students, with the staff, being part of the team that problem solves. There will be more to come. I just don't know how much you guys want. And on a plus side, Durant also received the grant. They have a school resource officer, but this will help them. Wilton already has their school resource officer. West Branch has their so many hours a week resource officer. So we are looking at also having they can bounce ideas off each other. We're all smaller schools dealing with some of the same kids, a lot of the same issues. So that's also in development.
So then just to make clear though, tonight is not approving a new position. It is approving this, accepting this grant and then having you move on to the next step with the school boards.
If everybody approves, then yes, there will be a new position.
Well, yeah, but you have to get,
I would, we looked at an SRO a few years ago and thought we had 50-50, I think it was, funding. and then found out that the school couldn't make what we thought was a commitment. If I was gonna suggest one thing in the motion, it might be, if you want to approve it, it might be with the contingency that it's approved contingent on the other two entities signing something more substantial that they will be in as described. I'd hate to get into it like we did before, where, we're signing this grant. I'd hate to get into it thinking that we have these two other schools with us during the duration, but then something happens and somebody changes their mind. I think again, if you're looking at doing it, and I was in a town that had an SRO and it was a successful program. But I would suggest if you approve it, it'd be with the contingency that either the 28E is developed and you'll know they'll sign, or something like that.
And it's right here. I have the 28E agreement for the 4 years. It's not just a 1 year, it's for 4 years.
But it hasn't been.
It hasn't been signed because I need your approval to accept the grant and to move forward with the school boards.
Mhm.
I can't go to the school boards and say, well, we don't know if they've approved it yet, but I want you guys to sign off on it.
No, I didn't say that.
I know, but I'm saying I can't go to the school board. They have tentatively said yes.
Yeah.
But they need, when I talk to the superintendents, they need me to go to the school boards and reapproach it and say, here's our 28E, are you guys on board with this still? And from what the superintendents say, they said, it's all but a formality, but I still have to do that step. And the 28E is for the 4 years. It's not just for 1 year.
And then what happens after the 4 years are up
Then
with that officer?
Well, legally, we have met our obligation. My goal will be to continue the program, because it's a great program.
Yeah, because there's a
Right.
mutual benefit for everybody.
But if it doesn't, then this officer is just out of job.
The officer with the lowest seniority is, and the officer that comes on board knows that. It's not a big secret.
And what happens in the summer months when this officer is not in the school?
So there's a lot of programming that also goes on, but we can also utilize that officer for some of the hours that we use for part-time or overtime hours when other people are taking vacations. We have that option, so it's like a built-in, so that will be reduced in the police budget. Some of those hours will be reduced because we have this other officer that can fill those spaces.
And this is a budgeted item already? I mean, you're going to have it a budgeted item?
It will be a budgeted item for July 1, 2024. And Melissa's not here. When we did talk about it, so we would invoice the schools for their cost and then also the COPS grant. The part that we pay can be out of a different funding source. And I don't want to speak out of turn, but she explained that it could be, we could utilize some of the funding from, I just don't want to, I don't want to say a levy, but there was something on there.
I think if I remember right, our part of it would hopefully not come under the 810, it would come under the employee benefits levy,
Yes,
which isn't capped.
I think that's what she was talking about, but I don't want to speak for her because I don't want to say the wrong thing.
But so tonight we would be approving the acceptance of the grant and guiding you to go talk to the school boards,
And get this 28E.
signed.
But we can put in language that if for some
Yep.
reason the schools change their mind.
Yep.
Or a school
It's
changes
contingent.
its mind.
On,
The school's accepting.
yes,
And then at that point, we would have to give the grant back.
So is there a motion to accept the grant and having Chief Dufour move forward?
Motion.
Oh, second.
All right, Helm with the first and Embry with the second.
Helm,
Yes, you said yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Posturing,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes.
Cummins,
All right, then moving down to number 4, discussion and possible action. That would be concerning the selling of a cooling tower at the amount of $3,000. John?
This is a tower that was purchased about 5 years ago from Durant Municipal. Back then, we thought we could use it for our own generation for cooling. It's undersized. I added the stuff from Cat Power. To make it work, we're looking at about $500,000. That's their estimate. So we bought it for scrap, about $1,800. I don't know for sure, but they're offering $3,000 to use it at another utility, so.
Alright.
Question?
Yeah, there are no questions for John. Is there a motion to accept this sale?
Motion. Second.
Hembry with the first and Cummins with the second.
Posturing,
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Hembry,
Yes.
Cummins.
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Could we have the minutes reflect that it's for another municipal utility?
All right, then that takes us down to the added. Oh,
Is
sorry.
it a municipal?
They didn't, I don't think they said it was a municipality, they said it was just another utility.
Well, let's have the minutes say that much anyway.
For another utility. All right, then, moving down to the added number 5, we received this memo. It's a discussion about a new police vehicle, a Chevy Tahoe. We have Chief and Clay here. If you guys have any questions regarding that. I know Tim had asked if we had approved this a year prior with the CIP, and it's in there, the money. So if anybody doesn't have any questions, is there a motion and then setting up a special meeting next week to approve the purchase of it?
I'm looking 2,000 differential, right?
No, I'm asking for that motion.
You're looking at only 2,000 differential, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Motion to move forward.
Second.
All right, Hembry with the first.
It's not on the agenda. So we added
Yeah.
this discussion. So in order to make it work, we have to ask, I mean, it could be a short electronic meeting if you wanted to. Or we could get together just quickly, or 3 of you. But really, we need to do it as a special meeting unless it waits until the first December meeting.
But
I think time was of the essence.
yeah,
Do electronic.
the motion was to come up with a special meeting.
The consensus to have it on a certain day.
Okay. Is there a consensus to have it on a certain day, Mike, since you made the motion?
On a certain day?
Yeah.
Wednesday.
All right.
We can't postpone.
No, it'd be next Wednesday.
I mean,
we said-
it'd be electronic?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It don't matter what day. Wednesday's fine.
All right, so we have a tentative meeting set for Wednesday next week. Helm made the motion
Oh, I did.
and Hembry seconded it.
Mike, what time?
What time you want?
Yeah.
He says noon.
Noon 15.
All right.
That's right. Noon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kidding, noon.
Noon? All right, so Wednesday noon, is there a second for that?
Second.
That was McNeil.
What's your
McNeil.
consensus?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, that's consensus.
oh, sorry, yeah, that's our consensus. Ugh. All right, so then that moves us down to the reports. I don't have anything this week. Council, committees, City manager? Department heads? Yeah,
If you all are like me, when we were talking about the exemption in the ordinance, I kind of wanted it in front of me. I pulled it up, you all like to hear it? It's just
Sure.
very
Yeah.
good. Okay. My phone's.
with
in red.
feeling,
If
with
it
feeling.
dies, I'm sorry.
Read it with feeling.
Yeah. 9213, water service bill adjustment. Upon application to and at the discretion of the city council, each customer or address within the corporate limits of the city may be allowed a one-time adjustment on the water bill at that address or meter with an adjustment cap of $250. A 12-month average billing amount will be established from the 12 immediate previous billing cycles. So it isn't just free, it gets averaged. Okay, maybe you knew that, I forgot that. Tax will be paid on the original full billing amount regardless of the amount of adjustment. If an adjustment is made to the customer's water bill under this section, then the one-time sewer adjustment under section 9908 of this code of ordinances must also be used at the same time. So one affects the other, see? Because you arrive at a sewer bill with the water usage. So that's what that's talking about. The city council, at their discretion, may allow additional exemptions to address a resident due to a change of occupancy or other mitigating circumstances approved to the council. Failure to correct and or fix a water loss problem shall not be considered a mitigating circumstance.
All right,
So the word was may.
Council's discretion. Yeah, so it can go,
Mhm.
it can be different every time. It doesn't have to necessarily be consistent. Each one is its own event. I would just encourage in the future that we look at them for what they are.
all right.
Thanks.
I think that may have been the small adjustment was the May.
Yeah, but even though each case is a case by case, you have to have some sort of consistency or it makes it look like you're being arbitrary. You know, if a set of facts in one case is the same as a set of facts, for example, as a previous case that was approved, what becomes the reason that you deny that other one? So, I mean, there has to be some level of consistency again, or it starts to look arbitrary.
All right, yeah, any other department heads? Seeing
Can I
that?
follow up to the manager's comment to that?
Yep,
Are your chlorine rates the same as they were 3 years ago, or when that ordinance was written?
no
Electric
idea.
rate's not the same either, is it, Brian?
No, but what,
And that's my demeanor behind it. The cost of doing business isn't free and water's not free. Sooner or later, you have to pay for it, whether it's on the receiving or the giving. It's still the same as an electron bouncing down a copper wire. Still the same as gas flowing through a pipe. It needs to be paid for if it was consumed.
All right, is there a motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Cummins with the first? Who was second? Hembry with the second?
McNeil? Hembry?
Yes.
Cummins?
Yes.
Helm?
Yes.
Bastian?
Yes.
All right, thank you, everyone. We are adjourned.